Task number 4, Diffie-Hellman key exchange. One of the challenges of using symmetric encryption is sharing the secret key. Let's say you want to send a password-protected document to your business partner to discuss confidential business strategies. How would you share the password with them? It would be best if you had a secure channel to send a password, knowing that adversaries can read or alter it. Diffie-Hellman key exchange. The key exchange aims to establish a shared secret between two parties. It is a method that allows two parties to establish a shared secret over an insecure communication channel without requiring a pre-existing shared secret and without an observer being able to get this key. Consequently, this shared key can be used for symmetric encryption in subsequent communications. Consider the following scenario. Alice and Bob want to talk secretly. They want to establish a shared key for symmetric cryptography, but don't want to use asymmetric cryptography for the key exchange. This is where the Diffie-Hellman key exchange comes in. Alice and Bob generate secrets independently. Let's call these secrets A and B. They also have some public common material. Let's call it C. We need to make some assumptions. Firstly, whenever we combine secrets, they're practically impossible to separate. Secondly, the order in which they're combined doesn't matter. Alice and Bob will combine their secrets with the common material to form AC and BC. They will then send these to each other and combine the received parts with their secret to create two identical keys, both ABC. Now, they can use this key to communicate. If you found the previous paragraphs too abstract, let's investigate the exact process. Alice and Bob agree on public variables, a large prime number P and a generator G, where 0 is smaller than G and smaller than P. These values will be disclosed publicly over the communication channel. Although insecurely small, we will choose P equals 29 and G3 to simplify our calculations. Each party chooses a private integer. As a numerical example, Alice chooses A equals 13 and Bob chooses B equals 15. Each of these values represents a private key and must not be disclosed. It is time for each party to calculate their public key using their private key from step 2 and then agree upon public variables from step 1. Alice calculates A equals to G to the power of A mod P modulo P equals 3 to the power of 13. Modulo 29, which equals 19. And Bob calculates B equals G to the power B modulo P equals 3 to the power of 15 modulo 29 equals 26. These are public keys. Alice and Bob sends the keys to each other. Bob receives A equal this thing. G to the power of A modulo P equals 19. That is Alice's public key, right? And then Alice receives B equals GB to the power of B modulo P equals 26, which is Bob's key. This step is called key exchange. Alice and Bob can finally calculate the shared secret using their receiving public key and their own private key. Alice calculates B to the power A mod P equals 26 to the power of 13 mod 29 equals 10, and Bob calculates A to the power of B mod P equals 19 to the power of 15 mod 29, which is 10. Both calculations yield the same results. G to the power of AB modulo P equals 10, the shared secret key. And here you can see this entire thing that we read from step number 1. You can see in this diagram. The chosen numbers are too small to provide any security and in real life applications we would consider much bigger numbers. Diffie-Hellman key exchange is often used alongside RSA public key cryptography. Diffie-Hellman is used for key agreement, while RSA is used for digital signatures, key transport, and authentication, among many others. For instance, RSA helps to prove the identity of the person you're talking to via digital sign-in, as you can confirm based on their public key. This would prevent someone from attacking the connection with a man-in-the-middle attack against Alice by pretending to be Bob. In brief, Diffie-Hellman and RSA are incorporated into many security protocols and standards to provide a comprehensive security solution. Answer the questions below. Consider P equals 29, G equals 5, A equals 12. What is A? Considering like that, knowing that P equals 29, A equals 12, and you have B from the second question, what is the key calculated by Bob? Right, so what is A? Here we will find A, here we will find B. Public keys, right? Then we just calculate over here the privates. Python. P equals 29. G equals 5. A equals 12. B equals 17. Right? Print A. Right? We just made the variables. What is A and then what is B? Okay. Now that we see this, we can calculate to see what is uppercase A. Uppercase A equals with G to the power of A. We have over here G, which is 5 to the power of 12. So we say G to the power of A modulo 29, which is 7. All right. So A equals G to the power of A, which is basically 3 to the power of 13 modulo 9. So in our example is G to the power of A, right? It's 5 to the power of 12 modulo 29, which is P, right? And in Bob's case, we go with G to the power of B. We go G to the power of B modulo 29, which is 9. Then, knowing that P29 A equals 12 and you have B from the second question, what is the key calculated by Bob? Key equals uppercase B to the module of A modulo P. So it's basically 7 to the power of A, then modulo P, which is 16. And in the other case, let's place it over here. What is the key calculated by Bob? Yep, so we have to take the 9. So it's basically 9 to the power of A. Actually, we don't have it. A to the power of A modulo P, which is 24. And we have to do this again because it's 7 to the power of B modulo P, which is again 24. It will equate with the same number. So these are the public keys and these are the private keys, the key exchange that will equate to the same for the both parties.